Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income with real estate. Listen and learn how 90% of the millionaires in the world use real estate to create a life that most people only dream about. A life that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here's your host, real estate investor and consultant, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where as always, we're talking about improving your quality of lifestyle, leading a more balanced life, generating a second stream of income with different forms of real estate, everything from self-storage to mobile home parks to commercial to multifamily. And we do so because the system that the average person is using, which is, solely dependent on a job for their income, just doesn't work. You look at the statistics, and I'm breaking them down, or I'm doing the opposite. I'm combining them so that you understand that 95% of Americans fail to retire successfully by age 65. It's not people don't stop working. They just, I don't know what you call it. They just lower their quality of lifestyle, lower their expectations to a point that matches their income. And they live off Social Security 0.5 years in retirement. So that's $10,000 a month. Nobody's retiring on $200,000. The truth is, nobody's really retiring on $1 million anymore. You really want to raise your expectations and set your target on more than $1 million, or more importantly, on cash flow. Because no matter how much you save, $1 million or $2 million, you're going to be praying that you die before you run out of money. It's not a good way to live in retirement. But if you look at the 5% who do retire successfully, they have something in common. And it's very simple. They all have second, third, fourth streams of income. Whether it's dividends from huge stock portfolios, but for the vast majority, kind of encouraging you to get some real estate into your portfolio and start building a second stream of income. With that second stream of income comes more time for family, more time for romance, for fun, for travel, for whatever it is you want to do with your life, what makes you happy. And today I want to talk about my path and how you can literally cut 9 years off of it. The first goal was just to figure out how to get out of working 60, 70 hours a week. I achieved that. Then I wanted passive income. So I achieved that in a semi-passive way. I should have said that. I wanted semi-passive income, and that referred to single family, a thing called passive investing. I couldn't start with passive investing, but boy, I wish I could have. The reason is that I came to the realization that I didn't really like owning real estate. It wasn't my passion. I loved teaching and coaching and consulting. And I made a decision to sell all of my real estate and go buy passive investments in real estate, and ended up investing in about 4,000 apartment units over the years. Those of you with big chunks of money, we're talking, I would say, let's say 350 and up, you could literally shave 9 years off of my wealth building process. If you got 100,000 or more, you could probably shave 7 years off. If you got 50,000, you could shave 5 years off. Because you really need 70 or more to consider passive investing. 70,000 or more, you need to skip, for sure, wholesaling and flipping, and go straight to passive investing in self-storage, in commercial property, in apartments, where you generate cash flow and you do nothing. You don't have to like real estate. It's just producing an income for you. And the goal is to get your income from your investments up to a point where it meets your wants and needs. Let's say that your bills are $5,000 a month, but you want $5,000 a month in spending money to travel and romance and fun. Then go to $10,000 a month. If you look at that, if you look at about, that's going to be about, let me see if I'm doing this right. Clear. Why won't this thing start? I think you'd need about $600,000 invested times about a 20% rate of return. Yeah, that's going to be about $10,000 a month. But here's the powerful point for the rest of your life. Whether you live 5 years in retirement or 20 years in retirement, it's going to come in. You don't have to pray that you die before you run out of money, because it comes in. Easy to pass your real estate on to your children. There's many ways to do it, but even if you goof up and do nothing, and don't have you got to have a will, of course, but you do nothing but a will, it goes to your kids. And the basis stuff is not that much because it's protected by depreciation. So if you're a family person, and you'll see how easy it would be, again, if you've got $70,000 or more to invest, how easy it would be to process. My whole path was about 15 years to peak. And you could cut 9 years of that off. Host Steve Davis, you're listening to AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Real estate accounts for more millionaires in America than any other investment vehicle. This second stream of income can truly change your life. More time for travel and roaming up on real estate investing. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com. It's 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. So when I originally started, if you remember my story, I was working 60, 70 hours a week, and I was very effective at my job. I won a national sales contest. They sent me to Hawaii for a week. When I got back, boom, they cut my pay by 20 grand a year. And what it did was, it was the most fortunate thing that could have possibly happened to me. When I saw the guy who did it to me years later, I wanted to hug him, because it woke me up to corporate dependence, to job dependence. There is no job security. The whole, is that called an oxymoron, job security, like jumbo shrimp? There's no such thing. It can't be. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't even make sense to exist. If they can hire somebody that's, unfortunately, I'm not, they're not supposed to say this is why they're doing it, but they're doing it, somebody younger, more energetic, and that will work for less and do the same job you did, guess what? You're gone. They let you go at 55. Good luck finding another 200 grand a year job. It's over. Not going to happen. You had better recognize that having a job is the highest risk position that you can put your. People talk about real estate's risky. Not compared to just having a job. Way less risky. And anybody of moderate intelligence knows this. So The question comes down to, what did I do? The first thing I did was I stopped procrastinating. See, a lot of people, including some friends of mine, were smarter than me. They didn't wait for a pay cut to motivate them to take action on their financial goals. They did it before that. So when the pay cuts came, they didn't care. They already had 30 or 40 houses. They were like, oh yeah, oh well, pay cut, whee, who cares? I'm making $7,000, $8,000 a month on the side. But with me, because I had procrastinated and never took action on building a second stream of income, when that pay cut came, I ended up with bad credit and no money. It wasn't the pay cut's fault. Be very cautious. I know a lot of you want to defend me and say, well, that's not your fault, Steve. The company screwed you. Listen, it was 100% my fault. Think about it. Was I the first person to ever get a pay cut? No. But I lived my life as if pay cuts only happened to other people. That layoffs only happen to other people. Think about it. How many of you are doing that? You blindly, you're in a state of denial. It's comfortable, and you go, oh man, they'll never lay me off. I'm so valuable. I got 2 degrees. I'm valuable. They'll never lay me off. They cut everybody's pay in the company at one time. Didn't matter if they had 2 degrees. Didn't matter if they were working 80 hours a week and lost their wives and sacrificed their families and their health for the company. They just cut the pay to survive. So I stopped procrastinating. I began reading. I had been reading quite a bit, but most of the stuff that I was reading was encouraging, motivational, and attitude books. None of them told me what to do that was correct, you know. They just told me to keep a good attitude, work hard, be motivated, and do well. The problem was I was doing well at something that could never ever take me where and it was all about real estate investing. And I remember the comment that 90% of the millionaires in the United States, or worldwide, sorry, did it with real estate. I said, man, I got to do it. Plus, when you get a pay cut and you're behind on your payments and you've got no savings, it's kind of hard to sleep, isn't it? So I was watching everything on late night TV, and Carlton Sheets came on and told me about real. I bought Tommy Vu, you name it, back in the late 80s. Any guru that there was on real estate investing, it was about $30,000 worth of books and tapes. And I studied them over and over and over again. And then I just started doing it. Again, I stopped procrastinating. And I started to do it because I was motivated by that pay cut. And what I'm asking you to do is don't be stupid like me and wait for a pay cut or COVID or a hurricane or 2008 to motivate you. It's coming. Another COVID's going to come. Another recession's going to come. It's not if, it's when. Are you going to be prepared for it, or are you just going to sit on your butt and let it roll? Started by wholesaling. And by reading all those books, I had figured out a way to wholesale without using any of my own money or credit. And I was making anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 to $40,000 a month wholesaling. Well, needless to say, I didn't need a job anymore. But then I had enough money to flip. So, and I'm not sure how long it took, a year, But after about, we'll say a year, after about a year, I started flipping and making even more money per month when you averaged it out. I wouldn't make any money for 2 months, then boom, I'd make 100. Wouldn't make any money for 3 months, boom, I'd make 50. So my average was still higher than it was wholesaling. Then at the end of my third year, that was when I started accumulating rent property. And then I met a guy who vacationed twice a month, 2 weeks a month, that owned like 120 houses. And that woke me up. I went, holy Toledo. I guess they don't take that much time. So I committed to buying duplexes at one time. Remember, 4 units or below is considered single family. Then I discovered small apartments and bought a little 10-unit apartment. Then I bought a 22-unit, then a 23-unit, then a 40-unit, and so on and so on. And I did that very effectively through the interval. And this kid comes up to me and goes, look, I'm buying a 200-unit apartment complex. I need partners. Would you be a key principal in the deal and put up some money towards the deal? And I said, sure, I'll do that. And we went and bought this 200-unit apartment with probably, and got 85%. No, we got more than that. I'm sorry. I think it was like 160% of our money back. And that was the end of single family for me. I was like, man, I did nothing. I didn't see the property. I never went to the property. All I did was get a check every 3 months, and then at the end of the 2 years, I got that big 160% rate of return. Do you see how you could shave 9 years off by skipping all that other stuff and going directly to passive investing? And that was just with $100,000, by the way, on that deal. Okay, we'll talk more after the break on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. If you've got questions for me, you can call me now, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSED. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Real estate accounts for more millionaires in America than any other investment vehicle. This second stream of income can truly change your life. More time for travel and roaming up on real estate investing. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Remember, you can always find us at GetRealWealth.com. You can podcast the show there. You can register for our free introductory course. For a lot of people, that's your first step. It doesn't have to be with us, but I hope you'll give us a shot. There's multiple groups in town that are very effective at this. Multiple groups around the country, thousands, that are doing this. You know, this is not a, how do I put this? It's not something I invented. Fat on a job and more independent, dependent on themselves. It's a phenomenal feeling. Your quality of lifestyle will be incredible, no exaggeration, and you'll feel so good about it. When you have that peace of mind that when, not if the pay cut comes, think, I knew this was coming. I'm prepared for it. As opposed to what happened to you when COVID hit? What happened to you when 2008 hit? Another 2008 is coming. Will you procrastinate or take action? And one of the ways to take action is to check out some free workshops like ours. Go to GetRealWealth.com, GetRealWealth.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's the free course. It's available online if you're staying home, or if you want to come to our office. We are way below even probably 10% capacity. Everybody must wear a mask, of course. and you can see it live. I do prefer it live. It's much more effective live. But if you're uncomfortable, watch it online. But go check that out at getrealwealth.com. Upper right-hand corner, it will say free course. And in that free course, I will show you the 8 reasons that we chose real estate above all other vehicles, and 14 pillars of success that we use to run our families and businesses. So check that out, please, at getrealwealth.com. So I really went through my path, and the whole intent of doing that again, because I did it, I think, last week, but I didn't stress enough the fact that I could have skipped those 9 years if I'd have just had a little money. I could have skipped 5 years if I'd have had 70 grand. I could have skipped 7 years if I'd have had 100 grand. I could have skipped 9 years if I had 350 or more. Some of you have so much money that you could do this in 6 months. You could literally retire yourself in the next 6 months doing what we do. No exaggeration. I've seen it happen. So please check out that free workshop if you want to find out how to do that. So now what I'd like to talk about, I don't know what I think just a kind member. I did a speech on the ego and how to use it effectively. And he sent me this incredible speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on a thing called the drum? Oh, doggone it. It's like the band leader mentality. And I should have this right in front of me, I'm sorry. That speech is incredible on how the ego manipulates you. You know, you want to know if your ego's in control of you? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? That's your ego. Your ego's making you spend that money. Now, there are exceptions to this rule where you make so little money, there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm talking about the average person making 36, 60, 100. You know, the big deception that I didn't know about was I would drive through West University and look at these, $500,000, million, $2 million homes, 2 or 3 BMWs out front. And I used to think, man, that's the lifestyle. Until I started meeting those people. Do you know that they're living paycheck to paycheck too? They are. Don't fool yourself. When you drive through these neighborhoods of expensive homes, the majority of those people are living paycheck to paycheck. Their ego is forcing them to spend every dime they make to keep up those appearances. To keep up those appearances. It's not real. If they were to lose their job tomorrow, guess what? They lose the house, they lose the cars, they lose everything. You think they're in a better position than you are? They're not. They're in the same position. It's just their paycheck to paycheck is, 5,000 square foot, $1 million homes and BMWs and Jaguars. Yours is a $300,000 home, which you shouldn't be living in, and what would be the next step down? Fords and Chevys, and of course, good Lord, have you seen the prices of cars? I know you have. A doggone pickup truck's $56,000 now, a minimum. And we're driving around in those things. Martin Luther King brings up the point that you should, if you make 100 grand a year, you should never drive a car more than 50 grand. But people with 100 grand a year, they're driving around $100,000 cars. The rule is you never spend more than 2 years of salary on a house. Who does that? Nobody. They're living in 4 and 5 years of salary homes. Person who makes $100,000 a year, those people are going out and buying $400,000 and $500,000 homes. No wonder they're broke all the time. No wonder they're living paycheck to paycheck. But that's all ego-based living. One of the most powerful things I ever saw was a student came in and goes, I'm selling everything. I'm like, what? Yep. Heard your radio show. I'm an idiot. I've got like 4 motorcycles, 2 ATVs, 3 pickup trucks, $500,000 house. And this was years ago when plasma TVs were like $10,000 a piece. He said, I've got 2 plasma TVs in my house. I'm broke. I look good, but I'm broke. He literally sold everything. His ATVs, his motorcycles, 2 of his 3 trucks or 3 of his 4 trucks, whatever the circumstance was, and then took all that money and started buying real estate. A few years later, I'd say 5 years later, ran into the guy. He chased me down. He goes, hey, Steve, it's me. You remember me? I said, yeah, I remember you, because who could forget that story? I said, how you doing? He goes, well, I got my trucks back, I got my motorcycles back, and I got my ATVs back. Here's the difference. My real estate pays for them, not me. Just a different way to live. See, when you get control of your ego and you stop caring what other people think, you can do things like that. You know, Martin Luther King said this, and this was 1968. I thought I had come up with these ideas about the ego. And his speech is based off of a speech from 1952. His is just very well done. If you've ever heard him speak, he's phenomenal. He brings up the fact that people know more about the color of lipstick they're going to buy than they do about their next investment. Holy Toledo, think about that. Think about yourself. Do you know more about the next watch you're going to buy than you do about your next investment? No wonder Americans are in trouble. We're being sold 24 hours. You're sold to buy jeans, you're sold to buy cars. You're being sold, and what they're appealing to is your ego, your need to appear like you're the top dog, like you're doing well, even if you're not. The ego wants to look like it's doing well, even when we know she's not working right now. She's telling everybody she is. Crazy. And people do that. Everybody does it at different levels. All right, we'll talk more after the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. You can call me at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Real estate accounts for more millionaires in America than any other investment vehicle. This second stream of income can truly change your life. More time for travel and romance, more time for family and fitness, more time for whatever you want to do with your life. To find out how to build this second stream of income, attend our free 2-hour introductory workshop on real estate investing. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're in the final segment of today's show, so if you've got a question for me, please give me a call now. It is 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. If you are at GetRealWealth.com, ask Steve at GetRealWealth.com. Now, I've just hit basically on the ego, but I do want to leave you with the concept of the ego can actually propel you. In other words, do you see how powerful the ego is, which is what they do? That's their whole goal in life, is to tell you what to buy. If you switched that and ignored television, I don't watch television, Some of you do. A lot of you do, unfortunately. But remember, every break, they're hitting you with 8 to 10 sales pitches for what your ego should be attached to. Cars, jewelry, clothes, makeup, shampoo. Oh my goodness. Here's what you do. Let all that crap go. Attach your ego to being a good parent. Attach your ego to being in shape, your fitness. Feel like a piece of crap when I don't have passive income. My ego drives me to have high income. It drives me. It drives me to go to the gym. My ego drives me to spend time with my kids. My ego drives me for romance. I use my ego as a tool, so don't dish your ego. Just control it. That corporate America is shoving down your throat. And then I guess I'm going to give you my argument for being cautious about watching TV. Remember this rule, and it's a rule with some exceptions. They don't put squared away people on TV. Get this show, people take the Bachelor seriously. When I look at it, and I'm embarrassed to admit that I've watched it, they're all train wrecks. I wouldn't date one of those girls. They're freaking nuts. And you watch it over and over again, week after week after week. You know what's happening to you? You're starting to think that's normal. That their behavior is okay. It's not. Those people are dysfunctional. That's why it's entertaining. It's funny. It's entertaining. Why, you know that Tiger King, why did everybody watch that? Because he was nuts. He was dysfunctional. It's entertaining. So be cautious. If you're going to waste your time, go play a video game. Do something that works on your hand-eye coordination, your math, your problem-solving skills. Go for a walk. I know some of you who haven't hit the gym in 3 years, but boy, you don't miss The Bachelor. You don't miss the Atlanta Housewives doing it. So be cautious. A little bit of TV? Okay. Just recognize it for what it is. It's a bunch of train wrecks who are entertaining to watch because they're idiots. And it's funny. I have to admit that. It is funny. So, okay, phone lines are open. 281-558-5738. It's AskSteve@GetRealWealth.com. AskSteve@GetRealWealth.com. This is from a longtime listener of the show. How much did it take to get into your 12 unit? I didn't have a 12 unit. It was a 10 unit. It was a 10, a 22, a 23, a 40, and then there were some others in there. But the 10 unit, I think, was $70,000 total out of pocket, down payment and rehab. And the wonderful thing about that deal was it was owner financed. So I didn't even have to qualify for a mortgage. It was a pretty sweet deal. Pretty sweet deal. Okay. All right, next question. Next question. Oh, this is a member question about meeting with me, so I'll email you after. Yes, we'll meet. We'll meet this week for your personal consultation, no problem. Okay, next question. Can I hire someone to get tenants in but not manage the property? Interesting. I guess you could just pay a realtor to find you a tenant and then manage it yourself. So I think the answer, Gloria, is yes. You could hire a realtor. You just need to be very clear up front that that's all you're doing. Look, you can lease the unit. I'll pay you 1 month's rent for leasing the unit, but I'll manage the property myself. Now, Gloria, I'm going to highly challenge that idea. The slowest way to lease a property is through a realtor. If you look at the days on market on MLS, it's 25, 35, 45 days. If you lease it yourself, it shouldn't take more than 7 days, not in Texas. So not only do you have to pay them a month's rent, you lose a month's rent, so it's really 2 months' rent. There's your cash flow for the whole year gone. So Gloria, if you don't know how to lease, doggone it, invest in yourself and take a class like mine on property management so you can lease those things yourself. If this is a time issue, which it appears it is, no, let me run through this. Here's what people think leasing is. Somebody calls you, you drive out there and show it. Next person calls you, you drive out there and show it. Next person calls you, you drive out there and show it. Nope. You let 20 people call. You tell them you'll meet them there Thursday at 6:30 or Saturday at 9 a.m. Which date would you like to come by? Then you set up 4 or 5 people for each of those times. One, it saves you massive amounts of time because you only drive out there twice. 2, having multiple people looking at the property at the same time puts pressure on anyone that actually is serious, and they will write you their check right then and there to make sure that the other person doesn't get it. So there's many more benefits to that as well, Gloria. And you'll notice too, 6:30, you're done with work by then, or Saturday morning at 9 a.m. You don't work on Saturday. So you can do this, Gloria, but you do need to invest in yourself. If you don't know what you're doing, then go take a course like mine, if not mine, somebody's, and learn the business. So you don't have to lose 2 doggone months of rent just to get it leased. And it can be done while you're working that 50 hours a week. Okay, next question. This is a multifamily question. Determine how much we can push up rent. You just need to do a rent survey of every other property around. Find out what your competition is leasing for, what their highs and lows are, what the average is, and then you make a decision based off of that. If you have just completely rehabbed the property, $1.5 million. Wow, that's a nice big rehab. You could push the rents up to the top. Find out what the high rent is in the neighborhood and shoot it. See if you can get it. And if it doesn't, you'll know in a matter of 15 days. This is not something that takes months to figure out. You'll know in 2 weeks whether you overpriced it or not. Then lower it by $25. Do it again, lower it by $25. I'm actually going to call you on this one because this is kind of complex. All right, this has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Today, please, towards your financial goal.
This has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.